So I think you probably know most of what I've got to say, although we have initiated the evacuation of Lyons. We have roughly 100 National Guard personnel involved and 21 light and medium tactical vehicles. They're not all going to Lyons, but they're going up into Boulder County, into the hard-hit parts of Larimer County, to make sure those people who are at risk are addressed. We did get a break last night from, and we're very grateful to FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, as well as the Department of Homeland Security and the White House. There were people, I was talking to people in the White House at 8 o'clock last night trying to make sure they could get our emergency declaration signed at night so we could keep people working around the clock, and they did that. And certainly we're very grateful that that the rest of the country recognizes that when you're, when you need help, they're willing to reach out. Again, we're continuing to get calls of support from neighboring states. We are in the process now of recognizing what types of assets we need in terms of doing the assessment. Once this rain begins to recede, we certainly are going to need help with the recovery. We have a website, and I think a lot of people are aware of this, but it's called helpcoloradonow.org. So if people go online at helpcoloradonow.org, they can make contributions to the whether it's the Red Cross or which of the emergency organizations are there. People can direct their money quite specifically. I think that at this moment is much more useful than people providing coats or perishable food or other support. Let me see what else we got here. We're going to have a video conference with FEMA at 10:30, try and, again, tighten down some of these assessments. I did talk to the acting director of the Department of Homeland Security this morning, and they are committed, again, to provide all the support we could possibly need and make sure that we get people out of harm's way. The one overriding thing I try to say every single time we speak is stay out of your vehicle if possible. Stay home if your home is in a safe place. Obviously, if you're being told to evacuate, then you need to evacuate. But be ready, be prepared for whatever your local emergency management folks are telling you. Any response to an emergency like this, to a natural disaster, always starts locally. They are going to be the best informed, but most of our injuries, often in these types of disasters, the fatalities occur with people trying to walk through, get from their car, walk through what looks like maybe a foot or 2 feet of water. It looks harmless. You got to recognize that this water is filled with debris and sand, and it is almost like liquid cement, and it can, even just a foot and a half of water can knock people over, and you can be swept away. It's much, much different than normal water that you see going down a mountain stream. So we're asking people to be exceptionally careful and to, if at all possible, stay off the roads. Colorado Department of Transportation has issued a essential traffic only restriction, and that's for Jefferson, Larimer, Boulder, and Clear Creek counties. We're having trouble getting the emergency management vehicles around. The congestion's been such, so we're trying to get people at least for a couple hours to stay off the roads so that we can get help to where it most needs to be. I've got a bunch of our cabinets here. I don't know where they all snuck off to, but we're going to go out, to the affected areas in El Paso County and Boulder County, and make sure that we're providing direct support wherever we can. Again, our local first responders have done a remarkable job, and when you look at some of the work that's being done all up along this, it's about 150 miles worth of the Front Range. It should make every Coloradan proud. These folks, these men and women, have been out there. A lot of them working, work close to 24-hour shift, and have, done just a remarkable job. Any questions?
Governor, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are living in areas where they thought it would never flood, and therefore they may not have a flood insurance rider. What do we say to those people at this point, and what resources might be available for them if they have damage to their homes?
Well, we're in the process right now, and we're seeking an expedited process to, is it an expedited? Yeah. To get this as a declaration of a major disaster, a presidential declaration. That will free up some money, although, again, how that works out is, there's a very complex framework, matrix of information we have to collect. That's a big part of the response to a major disaster like this, is making sure that we get all the information together as we submit those requests. Certainly I have not seen final numbers for the accumulation of, you guys probably know this more than I have not seen it this morning, but if you include last night, total rains, it's got to be the largest storm that I can imagine in the state's history.
With so much happening right now, and I know the resources are spread out, this morning, is there a top priority? Is there sending more resources? Is there one that's becoming more urgent?
I think we have the evacuations, so making sure we get everybody, especially the elderly, the infirm, out of Lyons. We've got an evacuation going on in Commerce City. I mean, those evacuations are the highest priority, right? And we're trying to keep an active assessment with each of the local first responders. Say, where do you need help, and how urgent is it, and how can we get you more resources? Partly what we need is the rain to stop, right?
There's more flooding today in the flatland there, there's more people like Loveland, Longmont, Fort Collins. So what is the plan for those areas? Is that just to evacuate, or is it, since there's so many people, should we just stay?
You're talking about in the flatlands off the front,
More populated cities.
Right, we're seeing certainly more flooding in certain parts of Aurora, the North Metro area, people's basements. It doesn't appear to be, in most cases, I shouldn't say, I won't make a blanket statement, but in most cases it doesn't appear to be a threat to life. I don't think they're, in most cases, talking about evacuations outside of those few that I've mentioned. It doesn't mean that people shouldn't go down their basement and look. I mean, you can imagine someone who's got a lifetime of photographs that they've stored in the basement, and they just weren't thinking. They were so distracted by the storm that they went down, all of a sudden they've got 6 inches of water, and it takes all those memories from them. So there's a level of preparedness that everybody should go through and check their house out, make sure everything's okay.
What about transportation assets for those of us who've been traveling around covering this? You're seeing places where pavement is buckled, some places where it's given way, train tracks that are covered over with water. What will be the process of evaluating that?
Well, that's the assessment, right? So when you file to become a major disaster, you have to try to assess all of that and be very specific and delineate exactly what's from the storm, right? Some places of buckled pavement were already buckled. Generally, we have very good records of places where we have buckled pavement, and where we don't, I think we'll be able to delineate that fairly clearly and make sure that we get, I mean, it's going to take, this is not going to get fixed in a week. Right? We have lost a great deal of infrastructure, and it's going to take, many weeks to rebuild a lot of this.
Governor, you mentioned people walking around in the water in the flooded areas. We also saw yesterday a lot of people stopping on bridges,
Yeah.
Just wanting to try to see things. Can you address that?
Well, so, one of the issues that I've heard now from several sources is people with their iPhones, or people have their media and they want to get a better shot. They want to get out on the bridge. They want to get out. These are deathly situations, right? This is not something. Again, 1.5 feet or 2 feet of water doesn't look like it's life-threatening, but it is. It's different than normal water. So we continue to encourage everybody, stay off bridges, stay away from bridges, right? If it's a culvert over it and you see that the culvert's blocked and there's a bunch of water backing up behind it, in that water is all this debris that's sooner or later quite likely could push that culvert and that whole roadway away. You don't want to be anywhere near when that happens. So our repeated request, again and again, is stay away from bridges, stay away from the streams where again, stream beds, we've seen a number of collapses into the water oftentimes without any, it doesn't look like there's any sign of weakness, and all of a sudden 6 feet slides off into the creek. You don't want to be near when that happens. Let's let the Mother Nature run its course, and then we can go out and look and marvel at the strength and the power. But right now, let's stay safe. Anything else? Great. Thanks, you guys.